As we commemorate human rights, Special Assignment looks at the issue of gender rights within traditional communities. The recent court case of Bavenda Princess Masindi Mpepu is one such case that forces the country to examine gender equality within a human rights context.
They even included that in one of their papers, the ones we once said, that no women will ascend the throne in the Bavenda kingdom.
And how does that make you feel then?
It hurts. It hurts a lot because at the end of the day we are family. I would think that they'll support me, they'll groom me and stuff like that, but we are at war. It hurts deeply.
The battle lines were drawn when in 2012 President Zuma recognized Masindi's uncle, Tony Mpepu Ramabulana, as the rightful heir to the Venda throne.
King Mpepu Ramabulana was recognized as a king of the Bavenda community. He is not a regent. According to the findings of the commission, he is the correct leader and born from the correct house to lead the Bavenda kingship.
Not far from Venda, Hosi Mamuita II faced similar challenges, but after a protracted legal battle, the Constitutional Court ruled in her favor, a landmark decision for the rights of women.
You cannot override the Constitution. She has got birthright to be the leader of the community.
Are customary laws at odds with common law in our constitutional democracy? Gender activists say these laws hinders women's development, progress and dignity. It's patriarchal traditions that privileges males above females or primogeniture that Hosi Mamuita fought hard to change. Traditional practices are an integral part of South Africa's diverse and rich cultural heritage. These rights are protected by the Constitution, which sees all citizens as equal, irrespective of gender, religion or language. So how then do we resolve issues of gender rights, which often differ with customary law as practiced in traditional communities when disputes arise?
You have to look at what is the custom and customary law of these people. What is the Constitution saying in terms of the equality? Because the law says, the Framework Act which informs the Commission, says all those cases that came into being after 27 of April 1994, you have to apply the Constitution as it is. So if a person comes and say, I was disadvantaged on the basis of gender, you'll have to look at what the Constitution says. And what the custom and customary law of that community says.
In Hosi Mamuita's community, it was forbidden for a female to rule her people. This had always been the prerogative of the male primogeniture. This until she challenged this gender-based prejudice all the way to the highest court in the land.
With the equality clause and the primogeniture rule, it doesn't, meet anywhere. Anything that a custom that is there, any law that is there, and if it cannot supersede the Constitution, that's why when I went to the Constitutional Court, they said, no. We see the primogeniture rule, which favors men to take over, but as of today's Constitution, you are equal to any other person. That's how the Constitutional Court ruled in my favor to say it's my birthright.
The ruling in her favor has frustrated some male traditional leaders because now women could challenge them on leadership roles, which was unheard of in the past.
There were some of the traditional leaders, royal leaders, who were not happy about my case because they were saying it's a precedence. Some of them had, sisters as firstborn, and becomes a man as a second-born, because of primogeniture role, the second-born had to, as a man, had to be a hosi.
More recently, Princess Masindi Mpepu has challenged her uncle Tony Mpepu Ramabulana, the king of Vavenda, in court after she was prevented from ascending to the throne because she's a woman.
The primogeniture rule is a system whereby male persons are considered to be the heirs to either to a throne or to succeed in terms of property. It was practiced before the constitution, whereby female persons are not entitled to inherit anything. So this primogeniture rule is still existing. There were court cases, but those court cases did not specifically deal with the role of primogeniture to an extent that is somehow still being practiced. And we are saying this primogeniture rule is unconstitutional because it disinherits female persons. We are saying the constitution regards male and female persons as equal before the law.
So this is the basic argument before the courts.
This is the basic argument before the court, and how it came through is that the Mpepu Ramabulana family, in their minutes, it is recorded that the kingship of the Mpepu Ramabulana cannot be ascended to by a female person.
Soon after her coronation as the hosi of the Baloyi Traditional Authority, she has taken steps to empower women and girls. Although the Traditional Council does have men, in this community, it's the women that rule.
And I wouldn't like as a woman to see other women being oppressed, but I'm saying we need to transform. If it was an event, we'll say tomorrow we have transformed.
Since her reign in 2008, she has created a number of projects to empower her community. She recounts with delight on how she met Sir Elton John and convinced him to put some money into one of her projects.
We need something a shelter for these children to be in. That's how I met Sir Elton John. He was coming from London, was going to open another project at Vrygrond at Meisenberg. So when I met him, I said to him, introduced myself to him, I'm a woman from a rural area, but I've got this youth project. Can you help us? We want to build something small for them to work from. I said, no, hosi, when I go back to London with one song, I'm going to fund your project. And when he went back to London, I think he raised about 6.5 million. That's why you see this infrastructure here.
I'm the overseer of the programs that we are rendering here, because we have got 7 programs that are being rendered here. That is Fit for Life, that focuses on youth, that we do have the after-school care, that we take children that are coming from local school just to receive whatever that we're like helping them with homeworks. We have early childhood development, that is the creche, that we take from 0 to 5 years. We do have home-based care, those who are assisting those who are having chronic HIV. We assist them. We have got 22 of them. We do have the mamas and papas. These mamas are being referred from the health center. They are coming here to do embroidery. As I speak now, they are there busy doing their job.
If you asked the British how they felt about being the biggest cider drinkers in the world, they'd say something like this. Yes. Well, we don't know about you, but that sounds like a challenge. Challenge accepted.
Get a 6-pack of Savannah Dry or Light Handies for only $56.99 from Tops at Spar.
Now this is Trends, of course, your one-stop serving of all that's juicy and trending in the world of entertainment and showbiz. My name, of course, is Refiel Wemwilo.
I'm Dr. Sello Mutaung, and this is Our Talk.
A very good morning and welcome to Media Monitor. I'm your host, Alicia Jolly.
My name is Dumile Matez.
My name is Mpo. What time is it? It's question time.
For your daily dose of current affairs, tune in to the SABC News Channel.
Namwita is a few kilometers outside Zanin in the Limpopo province. With a population of 76,000 people, the traditional authority comprises 32 indunas, ensuring the daily needs of the community.
Me ni lidara ya tinduna leti ya tin'wana ta 31 hi mhaka ku ri papa mina loko a lova i sele a nyika mina swa vundhuna nkulu a ku ri hi lidara ya tinduna leti ya tin'wana ta 31. The problems leti nga koho a mugangeni ku fana na mati na gezi nkarhi wun'wana ri pfa ri famba loko va ta ka mehe va ta hi ku ni hlonipha hikuva ni ri ni ndunankulu ya tiko lera ka Valoyi. Aka nkarhi lowu taka na swi navela ku va na tindhuna ta vavasati letitsongo ku fana na mehe.
Unlike in some rural communities, where the traditional courts are the domain of men only and women are not allowed inside, here there is the equal representation of both genders.
The lawmakers should come and have a look how your courts are operating.
Where you have traditional courts, to change it is a process. It's not an event. I agree with those who say, no, we don't agree with it because they've seen what's happening in other courts where male traditional leaders really oppress women. And I wouldn't like as a woman to see other women being oppressed, but I'm saying we need to transform.
On this particular day, Hosi Mamwita II presides over the case of a man who stands accused of insulting a member of the community. It's an offence which is punishable with a fine or community service.
We fined him 500 rands and then 550 rands, and then 50 rand is for our tribal police who went to summon him to court. Then he agreed to pay, but he requested that he has to pay in 3 months installments, and he apologized. So that's how the case was settled.
In the traditional courts, what other matters do you generally deal with?
Couple quarreling. They want to divorce. If it's a matter that is a traditional type of settlement, we call them to the court. Why do you want to divorce the woman? And they explain, and then we settle it. And even child support, sometimes they bring it to us. If we fail, we take it to the magistrate offices.
The Traditional Courts Bill was recently relaunched by the Justice Ministry. This after 2 previous versions of the controversial bill were rejected in the National Assembly because of fears that it gave traditional leaders too much power and oppresses women.
This new version of the bill is very progressive, but because it doesn't use enforceable words which is gonna make sure that the rights of women are respected, it says women will be encouraged to participate. We know that in our traditional setups, women have been brainwashed or they know their places. They are not going to be, there's no environment which is going to enable women to participate.
The new bill says that traditional courts must be constituted of women and men, and courts must promote and protect the representation of women at all times.
If you go to different traditional courts, there are women. There may not be that many because some may not want to participate. But where I come from, there are women participating in traditional courts. But I agree previously that was the sticking point. But now that is being addressed. So the condition for a traditional court will be a substantial representative of women in that particular traditional court. So the traditional court will be composed by men and women.
Parties will be able to opt out of the traditional justice system, a provision that did not exist in the past bills. But the Alliance for Rural Democracy is concerned that this could lead to victimization if those living under traditional leadership structures do not comply.
I'm saying these things with caution, because by opting out, they know where they will get you. There will be time when you want to bury your loved one in the village, and they will say, you opted out, you don't recognize us. There is so many ways that they will victimize people who will opt out. So for us, it is written, but in practice, it could be a very dangerous move to make.
However, the new bill still prohibits lawyers in court. Disputes are meant to be resolved by traditional leaders under customary law, exercising restorative justice in a manner that's non-adversarial.
That bill is in the pipeline. It will definitely be tabled in Parliament, and it will definitely improve our justice system in the Republic, because it will allow traditional leaders to have those courts and to resolve those disputes. And then we will see, possibly we will see a reduction of cases at the magistrate court and a reduction of overcrowding in our prisons, because we will be using restorative justice.
The Justice Ministry is confident that the new bill will become law, regulating traditional courts in line with the Constitution. Princess Masindi Mpepo's court battle to ascend to the throne of the Venda nation has had lawyers and the judiciary grappling with issues of customary law, which affect 17 million South Africans living in rural areas and their rights under a constitutional democracy. According to this cultural expert in Venda, it's not custom for women to reign.
In my thesis, PhD thesis, I've indicated that because Mpepo Tony is the Induna of Dimanyika, who is the father of Masindi. The chief was supposed to be Masindi. But during then, women were not allowed to hold any position as a senior traditional leader. Up to now, we don't have any woman in the position.
The Indumi plays an advisory role to the king and may not succeed him in the event that he dies.
Indumi cannot ascend the throne for simple reason that if he has got the ambitions to become a king, then he can easily assassinate the king, because this is the person who has got easy access to the king. But in many instances, when the king dies, like what happened in Dimbanyika's case, Ndumi can take care of the throne until such time that the family decides to enthrone a new king or a new queen.
Tony Mpepu Ramabulana has ruled Venda since his half-brother King Dimbanyika died in a car accident in 1997. At the time, Masindi was too young to reign.
At first, this was really hard for me because when growing up, I didn't know that later on I would have to ascend the throne. But when I learned of it, when I was approached, I said I'm going for it. With the support I'm getting, I feel confident, strong, and I won't give up.
Customarily, it's the royal family that appoints a successor after consulting with other members.
How do you see this being resolved? Which way do you feel it's going to go?
According to me, Frank, is that if Masindi has the backup of the Womakadzi and the Makotsi Munene and Bavenda, the matter can come differently. But if she doesn't have the backup of those things, the court cannot decide to say they want her to be the king of the Bavenda.
However, the family in Masindi's camp say they were never consulted, which makes the process irregular. We wanted to find out from ordinary people in Venda about their thoughts on the kingship battles that has divided the royal family and created uncertainty amongst residents.
There's a lady called Masindi Mpepu Ramabulana. I think she's the right heir of the kingship of Venda Nation.
She can't be a queen because previously in Venda Nation, they were almost male kings only. She cannot succeed a man because the president of the case of Shulubana cannot be used here because this is not a chiefdom, it's almost a kingship. And then Tony is the rightful person to be a king.
She deserves to be given the throne. This is the issue of gender issues that which are taking place within the region. The issue of patriarchy which is coming in, which does not allow a woman to take over as a leader of the society.
If she wins, there will be a problem because there is a saying in Venda which says that
what does it mean?
If they are being led by a woman, they are going to fall, all of them.
In 2010, the Nhlapo Commission established that Venda had a kingship from the lineage of Patrick Mpepu, the president of Venda in the former homeland. The rightful heir was expected to be announced at a later stage.
In 2012, when we realized that there is a government gazette that is recognizing Peter Tony as the king of the Bavenda people, we then approached the court with a view to review the president's decision to recognize Peter as the king of the Bavenda.
However, the Commission for Traditional Disputes and Claims, which preceded the Nhlapo Commission, maintains that Tony Mpepu Ramabulana is the rightful king of Bavenda.
It is now up to the court to decide. We will not empty or presume what the court will decide, but based on the facts that are before us, and based on the fact that the commission resolved on this matter, that King Mpepu, who's the current king now, is the correct person to occupy that position.
Then, unexpectedly in September last year, the government announced his coronation.
Why would there be efforts to coronate somebody when there were still a legal process, a legal challenge to challenge his eligibility to the throne?
But the coronation did not go ahead when Masindi obtained an urgent interdict in the Thohoyandou High Court.
But it is the family, the royal family, that decides when and how the coronation should take place. From government, from traditional affairs, we're coming in from a governance side, wherein we're bringing in the oath of office that the king will take before the judge, and the president, who will basically hand over the recognition certificate during the coronation ceremony. But the family the royal family must, in terms of their custom and customary law, coronate that particular king.
The matter was finally heard late last year. The applicant's advocate told the court that a ruling in Masindi's favour would empower women and solve other traditional disputes.
It was on that basis of the inequality that was displayed by the family, and on the basis that the commission has completed its work, that we thought that the right process would be a court process.
But the judge was not convinced that the issue of male primogeniture was central to the case, because women do assume positions of traditional leadership in Venda. He dismissed the matter.
We are very happy that finally the matter, which was pending since 2012, has been finalized today, and it has been finalized in our favor. We have always said, we have always stated that the kingship of our Venda will be decided by the family. Even if the dispute is referred to court, the central issue will be as to whether the family, what is it that they decided.
It came as a blow, but in our view it's a very minor blow, because in any event, even if Masindi had won her case, the other side was, I believe they were going to appeal, and ourselves too, we are appealing to the Supreme Court of Appeal, and from there to the Constitutional Court. This matter is still going to go very far.